I'm starting. So.
People station, assisting.
What are you doing?
Love them, because we love them.
Hi, everybody. We're gonna get started in like 2 seconds.
Are you live?
Yeah, we're live. Say hi to the people. Hey, Goddess. Hi, Indie Goddess. How are you? So I hope everybody got the. Where's the horns? Everybody wants to know the horns.
I don't have all my stuff live.
He doesn't have all his stuff hooked up here in the kitchen, so. Eastern Goddess. Oh, Blind Pig says he's hungry. Hopefully. I'm going to stop this now. Are you finished? Oh gosh. Well, thanks all of you guys that showed up for our cooking show. I'm so excited. It's our first time doing it. Yes, we have the horns. I have a feeling they'll appear again, probably.
Go. In 5, 4, 3.
Some background music. What's up, y'all? It's the Cooking
And
Jawn.
that is up.
We're not cooking for you, but you can cook this meal and you will enjoy it. Should we show everybody what we're doing?
And that is it
Yeah,
for
turn
us
that
today, and we will leave you with a.
Turn it off.
Can't do it.
So we're going to be doing Risha Zimmer's.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
I can't.
Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
All right, babe. Thanks. So. Oh my gosh. And this is laughing at you.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
So we're making Risha Zimmer's chicken and shallots. So prep here. So we have the chicken that has been, we're using chicken thighs for tonight, but you could actually use a whole chicken. We've done that before with different pieces. So you could do, if you're using a breast though, I would just cut it in half so that you have about the same size pieces inside the pot, so they cook at the same rate.
These are bone-in chicken thighs.
These are bone-in chicken thighs, skin and bone-in chicken thighs. We have shallots, obviously. We've got some various sized cherry tomatoes we're going to put in a little bit later. We've got some butter we're going to cook with, some wine, which we'll be cooking with, but we'll cook off. So this is a child and pregnant person friendly recipe. Dijon mustard. Now, the recipe calls for tarragon. I hate tarragon. So we're using sage, and I just prepped that a little bit as well.
My favorite.
Oh, and this is garlic, which actually doesn't say on the recipe, but I just use it anyway.
And these are heirloom cherry tomatoes. You call it for cherry tomatoes, but these look really good, so I got the heirloom.
Cool.
I hope it's a nice addition.
Sounds good. So the pot that we use to cook is this heavy bottomed cast iron pot, and it's a one pot dish. So everything's going to happen in here, which is great. It's easy to clean up. And
what's the benefit of using a cast iron, what do they call this?
Well, you can use any heavy bottom skillet. So you don't have to use this. This is just what I use. It does really good for browning. So you'll see when we're cooking, we're going to get some really good color on the chicken. And then the bits kind of stick to the pot. And then we're going to deglaze it with the wine. And that gets all the like really amazing flavors. So the sauce we end up with the chicken is super tasty and complex.
Yes, Indie Goddess, that is a La Crusette, but you don't have to use a La Crusette.
Actually, it's Chaucer. So
oh, it's an imitation La Crusette.
It is. It's like low budget La Crusette.
Low budget. Look at you. Discount La Crusette.
Low budget. Actually, I think I got it on Groupon.
Someone just said they need a Dutch oven. That means something else that I thought.
Yes, it does. But this is similar to a Dutch oven. Yeah. My mom has a Dutch oven, which is very common in Jamaican food.
Okay.
So the first thing we have to do is prep the chicken. I'm actually going to get a apron so I don't get flour all over myself. So we start off with 2 tablespoons of flour, just regular flour, and then 1 tablespoon each of salt and pepper. Now, I usually would have just had this all prepped together, but I have a salt problem, and I figured we could just let people in on my salt problem right now.
Salt makes everything better.
Yeah, but...
you didn't know, like, there was different types of salt. Look at all this salt.
So, yeah, so we have a couple of options for salt. We have...
this is all salt.
Elderwood smoked salt. We have... smoked applewood salt. We have bacon salt. I have Merlot salt. I have oak smoked Chardonnay salts. black garlic salt.
Where's the chocolate salt and the vanilla salt?
That's all in the other cabinet.
There's more
Sweet
finishing
stuff.
salts.
And then we have sweet onion sauce, which is actually salt, which is actually what I'm going to use today.
That go nice with the shallots, I think.
Yeah.
And yes, Ennis, next time you're in the G-Rap City, you're gonna have to come over for dinner. And this is really, to be honest, I'm not like trying to like doubt your cooking prowess, but this is like a 3 on the skill dish.
Yeah, it's not super hard to do. It's
You do it
pretty
well,
easy.
and you've made it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's delicious.
You don't need a lot of like experience cooking to do it. So I'm just listening this up. So we're gonna do, we did, like I said, 2 tablespoons of the flour. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of salt, and then 1 tablespoon of pepper, and we're gonna just mix that up.
And give a little note, it is chicken thighs. It's a pretty healthy dish. This is all the fat and oil that's in it. Just this little 2 tablespoons of butter. So the whole recipe, the whole dish will taste delicious and will act and feel like it's got all kinds of fat or lard or oil that you cooked it in, but really just 2 tablespoons of butter.
So the other thing I hate in the kitchen is a lot of dirty dishes. So I like to reuse stuff. So with this meal, we're going to brown the chicken, and then we're going to pull the chicken out. And so I use this big dish here for the dredging, which we're going to do right now, and holding the chicken once it's cooked. So I just use the one.
And you can do that because the chicken goes back in. It's not, you're not going to be eating it.
Exactly.
Right, you're not cross-contaminating.
Correct. So the reason why these are wrapped in paper towels is because I did clean them, I washed them off, and then you want them super dry before you do the dredging portion. So we're going to do that right now. And they are very dry now.
And now normal, when I'm thinking dredging, I'm thinking egg wash followed by a flour mixture that gets fried. This is not the same.
No, this is just, we're literally just coating it in the flour and salt and pepper mixture. And that's what we're going to use to season the chicken, and we're going to cook it that way.
Give us a smile.
Hi, everybody. So we just do that with all 8 pieces of chicken. And like I said, we've done this before. Like usually whatever chicken's on sale, whatever bone-in chicken's on sale is what we'll do. Sometimes we'll just get a whole cut up chicken. Sometimes we'll get like thighs and breasts. Truth be told, Drew's a light meat eater, and I like dark meat. So
Yeah, but we did this to be honest, when we did it with too much chicken breast, there's not enough moisture.
yeah,
in
you
the
have
pot.
to. I mean, you definitely have to balance.
The thighs, the dark meat gives you the moisture.
So you have the fat, because that's what's going to give everything.
So Indy Goddess was asking, can we use non-wheat flour? Can you use rice flour?
Yeah, you can use any flour that you like. This is just so that it actually forms a bit of a coating and crust on the chicken when you're going to cook it in the butter. So you can use something other than all-purpose flour.
Yeah, this is just to help it brown.
And again, we're applying the seasoning, so
You might need a little bit more.
nah. It stretches, don't worry. We got it. So, how's everyone's today's Tuesday?
Today is Tuesday.
How's everyone's Tuesday going?
Yeah, the white meat does get kind of dry. I ain't gonna lie. I used to be a big only white meat kind of guy. Like, I guess, I don't know, because my mom cooked only white meat. But
Yeah, but your mom's a terrible cook.
she's an awful cook.
So I don't know
She's
if that would go by
terrible.
what she did, just generally speaking.
Carmela, today's her Friday.
Oh,
So-
happy Friday.
Yeah, a couple days off. That's nice.
That's awesome.
I feel like every day is my Friday.
Yeah, when is
Don't,
not your Friday?
don't tell my
Don't tell your
boss that. Don't tell the day job.
All right, so we're pretty much good here. We've got everything pretty well coated. We do have some extra in the bottom, and I'll just like kind of use that to sprinkle on the top when we go. All right, so we're gonna toss this stuff out. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick.
Thanks everybody for joining the inaugural Cooking Jawn.
Oh, it's like was
That
a random
Cooking Jawn.
idea we had, and now here it is. We're doing it. Cool. So now we're gonna
I mean, we cook all the time,
Yeah, we
and
do
we
cook
sit
all
around and talk anyway.
facts.
It's not like a hardship to fucking Periscope you doing all the work.
Surprise!
I'll just hold the camera. I can't do anything. I'm doing the directing and the filmography. Just you do all the cooking. That's cool.
All right, so first things first, we're gonna melt this butter.
It is a win-win. I get to eat. That's a win-win-win.
Medium-high heat is fine. So not super duper high, but not low either. And so this is a spoon. I love this spoon. It's actually Rachel Ray, but it hooks onto the pot, and it's super heat resistant, so it doesn't get hot as you're cooking it.
And I say this with all sincerity and no lie, and you can admit it. I invented a shit for that like somebody else ripped off and made before I could get it done.
That's true.
I did. I came up with a spoon rest idea like 2 decades ago.
That's what generational wealth will do for you.
Allow you to come up with ideas and not do them?
No, allow you to come up with an idea well after somebody else did and actually bring it to market.
Yeah, I don't think it was something that could have been patented, but I could if I knew.
Oh, I'm sure somebody patented
If I knew
it.
somebody in China that could make shit for a couple of pennies, I would have had it done.
And you need like capital, and you need a lawyer, and you need a bunch of other stuff. Anyways, so we're gonna melt this butter, and then we want it to get
the spoon's from William Sonoma.
No, the spoon's Rachel Ray.
Oh, Rachel Ray.
You can
Forgive me.
Yeah, you
Rachel
can get
Ray.
it at Amazon or whatever. They have this, and there's a ladle that also does the same thing, but it's really a really good one to cook with. So we're gonna melt the butter, and then we want it to just get a little bit foamy.
So you're not going to brown it.
No, we don't want it to brown. We just want it to melt, and then we're gonna get it a little bit foamy. Now, go ahead.
I'll have to do better with the lighting next time.
Yeah, I'll have to maybe-
These lights, I have to readjust some of the LEDs.
Why can I not see it?
No, it's good. There's a lot of shadows.
Some shadows going on.
It's not good filmography lighting.
All right. So we're about melted here, and as it's gonna foam,
There's our chicken thighs dredged in flour, seasoning, salt and pepper, our sage if you're coming in late, heirloom tomatoes, garlic, Dijon mustard, white wine, and peeled shallots.
All right, so we're about at the foamy stage now. So it's starting to foam up. I'm gonna kind of check that out and see. Maybe they can see.
Yeah, it's foaming a little bit.
All right, cool. But once it starts to foam, we're gonna start to cook the chicken, and we're gonna do it in batches, and we're looking for browning. So I start with skin side down because that's where we want to really get most of our fat from. So we just plop them in, and you don't want to crowd the pan too much. Because again, we're going to do it in batches and just brown everything nice and evenly. So I usually just do 4. Now, I will say when we're doing a whole chicken, this is a little easier because like the leg fits really nicely in the middle and stuff like that. And you guys can hear it sizzling. So we're going to let that do its thing for a couple of minutes. Doesn't take that long, and you can always just peek and know your oven or your stove, because I don't know, most stoves have like a hot spot, so you want to make sure that you're cognizant of that as you're putting the chicken in. And then what I do is just make room in this for the chicken that's going to come out. And as Drew said, it's okay that there was raw chicken in here because this chicken is not going to be done when I move it back in here. It's just going to be done browning. We're going to put it back in the pot after we've cooked the shallots and caramelized them and deglazed and everything, and then they're gonna just sit in all of that goodness.
So really,
you're
you're sealing the chicken and extruding some of the fat that you're going to use to cook the rest of the chicken with.
Basically, we're building the flavor. So we started with butter, then we're gonna have the chicken fat with the salt and pepper, and this gives us a nice crispy chicken with like tender on the inside when we cook it the rest of the way. So we're gonna let this go for a little bit. It sounds good and it already smells good.
It does smell good already.
Yeah, so you can turn it around now while that's going. Put it back up. So what else is going on with people? What was in the news today? What were we talking
I
about?
have not been in the news. I'm avoiding social media and the Twitters and stuff.
Just period? Or?
Yeah, every once in a while I gotta just not do shit. Yeah, I'm busy at work.
Well, I know the president had his whole gun control announcement today.
Todd said something about that?
Oh, Todd was
I don't know.
Anyways, so and I heard he. Oh, look, I see this. Just so I guess they'll start banning people.
Was that for me or you though? 'Cause maybe I might wanna,
Maybe you might want to.
I don't know.
Block party. Yes, block party indeed. Ennis. Yeah, Ennis, you have to come swing through so we can see you.
Or we could just go to his neck of the woods.
Yeah, we could totally do that too. All right.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Sizzling. Now you're checking the skins. When is it done for you?
So I'm going to show you so you can probably. So I do have a hot spot in this pot, and it's right. What are you doing? So I do have a hot spot in this pot, and it's right here. And so you'll see like this piece is just barely browned, but this one's looking really good. And this is what we want. So you want to have slight blistering. You want to make sure that there's color on it and that it's pretty evenly done. And then you just flip it.
Why is that part of the pot hotter?
I mean, it's just the mechanics of like cooking and stoves and stuff. You're not supposed to be just asking me questions.
Yeah.
But you guys can ask questions. You guys can ask questions. So if you have any questions, just type them in. The great thing about this dish is it's super quick to come together. It's in one pot, so there's very little cleanup. And, it's nice, simple, easy, but tasty flavors. And it's really good in leftovers format. So
it does heat up really nicely.
That's always really nice, too.
And I stand by my assertion that it's a healthy dish.
It is pretty healthy. So we got 2 pieces that we've just flipped over and see. So I'm kind of moving them around the pot as I see that hot spot. So I kind of use that to my advantage in this case. So we get everything nice and brown. Next show we'll have to have a few articles and stuff that we can go over that people are talking about. So there is something that we have that's been kind of talked about a lot lately.
What's that?
Which is this notion of questioning the blackness of people that are in relationships or are biracial, for that matter. It's been very interesting online of late, just hearing people talking about that. I don't know if you guys have been hearing all of the chatter, but it's been irking me to no end.
What happens when you turn it like this? Does it?
I don't know. Ask the people what it does.
Does this look sideways on your screen now, or is this
turn their screen
the normal way? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really gonna me personally. I'm never gonna talk about. That works better. All right, thanks.
Okay.
I'm not gonna talk about who is and who isn't black and who has the right to claim blackness. I think that's a wholly inappropriate conversation for a white person. Looks worse to some guys. Huh. Well.
It depends on the device.
I guess
If you're on your computer, this will look worse. I think you have to turn it the other way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you can't turn your computer. If you're on a desktop.
Hi, Tia. What's up, girl?
Tia!
We miss you. But see, now it's too far. You're not even, in frame.
Well, just turn it.
I'll just hold it.
Anyways, put it here to the chicken because I want them to see, now that I'm pulling it out, what it looks like. So now that I'm pulling the first pieces out, I'm going to add the second set in and get those going.
So this is called, does the dish have a name? Just chicken, shallots, and tomatoes?
It's Risha Zimmer's chicken with shallots. So it's a chef's recipe.
No, Tia, we cannot hear you. That's not how Periscope works. But we can read what you type in, sweetheart. It's a one-way communication device. We're streaming this to you, and you can hear us, but I can see what you type. So if you got questions and whatnot. And whose chicken recipe is this again?
Risha Zimmern is the name of the chef whose recipe it is. And we have a link on the page, and I think we tweeted it out a couple of times. So if you go to our Twitter feed, you'll see the link to the recipe as well.
It's a hell of a good recipe.
It is good.
Maybe my 3rd all-time favorite chicken recipe.
Wow. That is something. All right. So here, I'm just going to show you. We've got both sides brown. You can see the color we're looking for. And we want it to be the skin nice and crispy and the bottom browned as well. So we're just doing that with our second set.
And again, to reiterate, this is not fully cooked, not even close. This is just browned.
Just browned.
It's been maybe about, if we had to set a time to it, maybe 3-4 minutes aside, if that.
About that. Yeah, about that. Right around there.
Oh, okay. So someone did say it was a keyboard. All right. If this is much worse view for you, I apologize.
Maybe we'll have to get something. I don't know if you can only do it from mobile devices, though. I don't know about Periscope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we'll do screencast eventually. People like the show.
All dozens? All Baker's
10
dozen?
People, yeah.
All Baker's dozen.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is getting close to being done. What's the step? What are you thinking about next?
Next, we're going to actually take the shallots, and you want to just pull the outside of the shallots off, which I already did. They normally look like onions, like these little onions.
And so if someone doesn't know, what is a shallot?
It's just it's in the onion family. It's a little sweeter and smaller than a normal onion, and
I'd say a little bit more powerful.
Maybe. Anyways, it usually looks like this. But we take off the outside like you would for an onion.
So you peel it.
And you peel it. And we're going to throw them in just like they come out of the...
You're not going to dice them up or anything?
Nope. They're going to go right into the pan, into this lovely fat and butter that we have going in here that now has like seasoning in it. It's got the crispy from the chicken, and it's starting to get like all these little bits stuck to the pan, which we love. That's all the good stuff. So that's going to go in here. We're actually going to cook them in this fat until they caramelize. So it's amazing the transformation they go through. They break down and then they get like this beautiful amber color, and they get really sweet, and that's going to be the next step.
And now this is entirely on the stove top. There's no baking at all?
No baking. It's one pot, this pot, and that's it. And so it's safe to stuff do while I'm cooking.
Well, if you're coming late, again, this is like a simple 6-ingredient meal. This is the Crusette or Le Crusette style pot, heavy bottom pot we're cooking in.
You can use any
browning.
skillet, though.
These are all chicken thighs. These are the shallots. We've got heirloom cherry tomatoes, a couple different types of cherry tomatoes. And the recipe calls for, is it tarragon?
It calls for tarragon. I
We
hate
use sage.
tarragon, so I use sage.
Got a little bit of
You can use
Dijon,
anything.
Dijon mustard, some garlic paste, which is an add-in. We do that ourselves, a little addition. And then we got some Pennsylvania's finest. In fact, it's a joke, but it's not really a joke because Pennsylvania does make some pretty good wine. And the Chadsford Valley Vineyard in Pennsylvania is terrific. Eric Vineyard. This is their white, table white, proprietor's reserve. It's a screw top, you know, nothing too fancy. Maybe like $12 a bottle, but it's a good white.
All right, I'm gonna pull all these guys out now.
The chicken thighs are all done, or they're done browning.
Yeah.
The basting portion, I guess.
Okay. And then I'm gonna just literally throw in the shallots, just like this, and I'm gonna just let them cook. And they're gonna cook down. And so I don't know if
You're not changing. Yeah, you're not changing the temperature or anything
I'm not
else.
changing the temperature. I'm not changing anything. And like all you want to see, like all these little bits on the side of the pan and at the bottom of the pan and all of that good stuff. And we're gonna let this go. I might even turn it up just a little bit, if you're looking to get them done quicker. And you can cut them in half if you'd like to as well to make it cook faster. So it just depends on kind of how you want to go. And I just let them go. I don't touch them. And I also now switch from the tongs to the big spoon that we were talking about before. And I just let these shallots do
Say,
their
hi there, you cooking too? That's our dog Bailey. So this is a medium-high heat. There's the flame.
Yeah.
Medium-high. And these will end up as caramelized. You can see the shallots are changing, becoming translucent kind of before our eyes.
Okay, so I'm gonna get
Someone asked how high the heat was, and I was like, oh, wait, what are you asking?
How high is that?
How high is the heat?
How high is that heat?
Just how high?
You
Switch
might
gears.
have to open this.
I'll muscle it.
Woo.
It's the good stuff. Screw
Oh, yeah,
top.
Screw top. So I'm just measuring out the wine because that's going to be next.
And even though it's a lot of wine, it really cooks off. There's almost no wine. There's no alcohol, certainly.
No, there's no alcohol.
And there's, I wouldn't say very little wine flavor, but it's not an overpowering wine flavor.
No,
Because there's so many flavors in the
yeah,
dish.
I mean, it really just enhances what's already in there versus like it's
Using
tasting
water or
like
chicken
wine.
stock,
Yeah.
right.
Well, you need the alcohol to get all of these great bits off the bottom of the pan, which is called deglazing. So that's really important why you want to use alcohol to do this. Next month, we're planning on doing this monthly. We're going to do a dish that actually cooks in the oven, but it uses vermouth instead of wine, dry
Okay.
vermouth. So, but the idea is the same. And then the other thing is you can play around with the flavors of this dish. So if you don't like sage and garlic, you can use, basil and something else. You can really just add whatever you have in your kitchen, whatever you have in your fridge. So now we can see like the shallots are starting to caramelize. You can see this guy right here is a good example of what you want to see. I'm gonna take him out so you guys can kind of see how he's like blistering and getting that nice brown color there. So that's what we're looking for. We want them all to be like that.
Say hello to you. You asked what time it is. We're on the East Coast, 7:20. It's about 7:30.
So what's everyone else having for dinner tonight or had for dinner? That's a good thing for folks to share. And who does the cooking in your house? That's another good question.
In the Jawn, very white guy cooks exactly 3 things, one of which is frozen pizza.
Yep. All of which make a mess of my kitchen. So
no, I cooked it and I didn't make a mess.
I'm sure you did.
What did I make?
I don't know.
It was something I heated up from Trader Joe's. I don't know if that's cooking.
Count, really.
Like a line cook.
Yeah.
I heated it up.
So lucky.
I had to use both the stove and the microwave.
Dun, dun, dun. So I'm going to move these to the side. I'm actually going to cut these.
This is our other dog. She wiped out. She got a bone. She's all like, "Oh, you guys are cooking? I'm just sitting here looking good."
So we're not going to finish the meal with you guys because it cooks once we
Ennis is doing slow cooker pork chops.
Ooh.
Ennis, you're going to like this story. So we said earlier my mom's like a bad cook. That's being polite. She's a friggin' awful cook. Like, kills stuff. Like, literally, the joke in the house is that she gyloed it, meaning she burned it. So she, forever and ever, would make all these things that I thought were terrible. And one of those things was pork chops. So for a good many years in our marriage, I was like, no, I hate pork chops. I don't want pork chops. Don't cook pork chops. No pork chops.
I hate pork chops.
Oh, did I really get through that? That's got to smell. So then the other thing that my mom would do would use the crock pot. And she was a working mom, so she'd like throw shit in at like, 7, 8 in the morning. And then she'd crank it up and be gone for like 12 hours. Like for real, she would make stew where you could eat the bone. Like it was in the crock pot so long. So I was like deathly afraid of both pork chops and the crock pot.
And meatloaf.
And meatloaf.
So many other
There's a bunch of stuff that I didn't know were good. But you're doing pork chops in a crock pot. That's like 2 of my greatest cooking fears that Leslie has overcome. In fact, when she wanted to buy a crock pot, I'm like, no, dude, the crap pot? No thanks. I don't want that. And now I fucking love it. You do a pork chop, pork tenderloin in the crock pot. Yeah. You do a lasagna in the crock pot.
I do.
Yo, Carmela, I don't know how my mom messes up crock pot meals, but she did. It just
To her, like cooked is like burnt.
Is dead. Yeah. Her philosophy around cooking is very high heat. Very high heat for a very long time. That's my mom's cooking.
So we're getting pretty close here. Probably another minute or 2. You can see
they're
starting to fall apart. We've got that nice coloring on the outside of them.
They're a little bit softer.
They're softer and translucent. So yeah, we don't want them to burn, but we want to bring out the sweetness in them. So we want to make sure that they.
So the stages are caramelized. And then as it starts to get burned, how do you know when it's burning?
It'll get like really brown, really dark. Yeah, I mean, it'll just be burned.
And because there is more cooking to be done in this recipe for these shallots.
Yeah, everything's going to be cooking longer than right now. So again, we're building the flavors and bringing it all together. Let's see, this doesn't fall apart.
Absolutely, Ennis. I'll send it to you. I do everything on Twitter. I'll DM it to you.
What's he want?
Our address.
Oh, great.
Looking good.
All right.
And you said before, but if anyone's just joining, those little flecks and what looks like burnt pieces on the side is what you want. That's actually part of the flavor profile. So we browned the chicken.
That's what's going to give it all the depth of flavor, so it's not like flat and tasteless.
Yeah, this recipe has a deceptive flavor profile. It seems like it's something that would take a lot longer. Mm-hmm. Like, when you use beef stock and chicken stock to give something a little bit richer flavor in a shorter period of time, this does the same thing but without stock.
Yeah. So I'm having these cherry tomatoes right now. You guys are actually not going to see this part of us putting the meal together because you don't want to sit around watching this just cook. Eventually, once everything goes in the pot, we're going to cover it, and it's going to do its thing and cook the chicken the rest of the way. And then we're going to finish it with these cherry tomatoes right before we serve it. And so they're like still bright, still super tasty, still sweet, and really
So
awesome.
what she means is she just cut them in half, and they go in at the very last minute.
Very last
So
second.
in general, tomatoes cook in about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They don't take very long to cook. So if you put them in now, you'd end up with like puree, mush, right?
All right, I think we're pretty much ready. So you can see we've got all these nice color on all of these shallots. They look super good. We've got them kind of broken down pretty well. And we're going to put the
And I'd say this has been about maybe
10 minutes.
10, 12 minutes.
Yeah, 10, 12 minutes, about that.
Okay.
So we're going to put the wine in now. And this is called deglazing. So we're going to use the alcohol to get up all these little bits. So we're going to pour it in. You hear a nice sound. And then what you want to do is you want to take your spoon and then you want to like really work all of these like little corners, all the bottom bits, and you want to get all those bits and pieces up so that they don't stay in the pan.
And why does the wine get those bits off?
Something to do with the alcohol and its reaction to the heat. So it gets all that stuff up.
And as you're scraping all those little, you know, call it burnt little flavoring pieces, you can see the pot's clean now. And the what's left in here, which was originally 2 tablespoons of butter and then some chicken fat from the thighs and then some cooking elements from the shallots and now wine, it looks just
So
perfect.
it's got this like beautiful amber color, which is exactly what we want it to look like. And we've got all the good stuff. And you see like all those bits came right off once we put the
and really you couldn't
We're
get
gonna
that
cook
flavor unless you did all this in one pan the way you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're building the flavor and we want it all to be good. So we're going to cook this for a couple of minutes and let the alcohol cook off. So we keep the flavor of the wine, but no alcohol. And this is looking really good. And then we're going to add some additional flavors to it. I just want to make sure I'm doing this in the right order. Yeah.
The cooking Jawn.
The cooking jar. So next we're going to add the flavors that don't require any cooking to add the flavors. So whereas a raw shallot is pretty nasty, Dijon mustard, garlic, and the sage doesn't require any browning or anything for them to be useful in the dish. So that's going to be the next level. Now there's the recipe has like measurements and all that. I don't really, for this part, I don't do any measurements. I just kind of
You wing it?
Wing it a bit. So I just kind of put some in there.
And what's the recipe call for? 2 tablespoons?
I think it's 2 tablespoons.
It looked like about 2 tablespoons.
And then the garlic isn't even on it, but I don't cook without garlic.
Y'all, if you don't know garlic paste from the produce section,
yeah, it has to
and
be
keep in
from the
your
produce
refrigerator,
section, not the like.
It's gourmet garlic paste. When I say we put this in everything, I'm talking scrambled eggs, everything. It's the best. It is really good.
But it has to be from the produce section.
And then this is the garlic
so
paste.
It's not canned.
Yeah, garlic
It's not
paste.
in its-
There's a minced garlic. There's other ways of using garlic, but garlic paste is the whip.
Oh man, it smells so good already. Okay, so now we've got pretty much all the flavors that we want to have in the pot in here. I'm going to let this kind of come together and then bring the chicken back over because we're going to put it back in to cook.
You know, and you probably could put actual garlic cloves and real garlic in.
Oh yeah, you could put any of that stuff.
And this ground gourmet garlic is just ground actual garlic in like olive oil.
Yeah.
So it's pretty close, but it is a.
But it's refrigerated and
It's a
it's
grocery
pretty
store
fresh
product,
and it's
you know.
nice. And it's good for, you know.
Quick, easy adding of garlic.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see we've added these flavors now, and it's got more of a cloudy color to it, which is exactly what we want. And now we're going to add the chicken. And so the chicken is literally, we're going to sit it right in to the pot, just like this. So all of these beautiful browned pieces we already had.
Yeah, so someone said the chicken didn't look quite done. It wasn't. All we did was sort of brown.
We just browned
the
it.
skins to
and it's
to
going to
release
be
the
in this
fat.
pot now to cook in this awesome sauce for the whole rest of the time.
And this is about another maybe 20 minutes,
30.
30 minutes.
So we're going to leave. This is going to be the end of the
Yeah,
show.
we won't be showing the very end of this
I'll take a picture and post it.
ta-da moment. But it's full.
So you guys can see. I just make sure that the chicken kind of is in the sauce, actually in it, so that we've got, you know, the sauce actually doing its work. And then we're going to lower the flame to low. So put it about there so it's at a simmer. You can see, simmer. And then we cover it.
Yeah, we'll put the finished product on Twitter. So this is going to cook, simmer for 30 minutes, and then we're going to be throwing in these heirloom tomatoes that Leslie already sliced for the last maybe 5 minutes. And they come out really just perfect and nice and soft.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the whole recipe. It sits in there for 30 minutes, and then once that part's over, we take it off. We're going to add the cherry tomatoes in, and we let that cook for about another 10 minutes so that those soften a little bit and everything comes together. And then we just serve it and we eat. You can do it over pasta, you can do it over whatever. But honestly, with the shallots and the tomatoes, we just eat it as it is, and it's really good.
It's an awesome leftover meal, too. Put it in a
really good.
Tupperware in the fridge. It's great. Heat it up.
Thanks, T.
Thanks, Tia.
All right,
and
well,
thanks you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
The premiere Cooking Jawn.
Yeah.
We'll get a picture of the finished product right before the tomatoes get in, and then when we plate it up.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Bye,
joining
everybody.
us. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.